Back here on SportsLine, we'll switch back into hockey talk, but the phone lines are still open, 737-7767. If you'd like to call us up, we can talk anything. We can talk football, we can talk hockey, we can talk basketball, baseball, whatever you want to get into if you want to dial us up tonight. But, of course, the big story, again, the Philip Forsberg signing over the weekend and what that means for this team moving forward. Tried to break it all down with the voice of the Predators, John Burton, with Willie Donick from Sunday Sports Central.
And we're happy to be joined by the television voice of the Nashville Predators, our guy, Willie Donick. Willie D, thanks for joining us tonight. Let's get right to it. What does it mean for the Preds to lock up Philip Forsberg for 8 more years and give him that no trade, no movement clause that GM David Poile normally doesn't like to give out?
Yeah, he only saves that for the very special players. And I think they've been working on this for months and months, and it's nice to have some closure on it. I think most of us felt eventually it would get done. They did wait until the final couple of days, and I think the deadline was probably the key. I think all along, Philip Forsberg wanted to stay here long term, which is a compliment to our city, I think, and to the franchise. And David Poile certainly wanted to keep Philip Forsberg, the all-time leading goal scorer, a Predator. So, yes, the no trade clause was important. And I think it was a fair deal. I think Philip Forsberg waited and probably got a little bit of extra money at the end. The Predators moved up to $8.5 per year. And I think when it's all said and done, I think that's about right for him.
Now, the Preds, Willie, made the playoffs again last year, but they were swept by the Colorado Avalanche, and many thought it might be time for this organization to commit to a rebuild. But David Poile is able to re-sign Forsberg, as we talked about, and they trade for a solid veteran defenseman in Ryan McDonagh. That doesn't sound like a rebuild to me, so what should Preds fans expect this team to look like when we see them again next fall?
Well, I think if you take a look at the last couple of years, they've really infused a lot of youth into the lineup. Last year, they purposely did not spend up to the salary cap. And I think what you're seeing now with the re-signing of Philip Forsberg, they budgeted for that. They made a big upgrade with the veteran Ryan McDonagh on defense. They feel like he's going to be a very, very big piece to their defense core next year in the top 4, maybe with Mattias Ekholm. And right now what they've done, they've taken salary cap room. They moved Luke Cunningham in a trade. So I think they budgeted between about 4.5 and 5.5, give or take a little bit, to try to upgrade at forward a little bit. And I think that's really the key, because I think they knew at the end of the season last year, they were a notch below a team like Colorado. But hey, that's about 28, 29 other teams that are a notch below Colorado right now. The problem is the Avalanche are the champions and they play in the Predators division. So the Predators have to upgrade. And that's what they're trying to do right now, and that's what they're going to try to do in free agency this coming week.
Yeah, Steve mentioned the Preds have a little less than $10 million left in the bank to start free agency, and that includes money they'll need to re-sign restricted free agent Yakov Trenin. So how aggressive do you think David Poile will be in free agency, and what needs to be on his shopping list this summer?
I think that with the acquisition of Ryan McDonagh and re-signing Philip Forsberg, the shopping list is pretty close. I think Yakov Trenin, as you mentioned, is an important guy. He's a restricted free agent. He had 17 goals last year. He is eligible for arbitration, so he's going to get a raise. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to go after Yakov Trenin for a multi-year deal, try to lock him up for a few years, because next year you've got Tanner Jeannot and Alex Carrier, a couple other rookies from last year that had outstanding seasons that they're going to want to keep in the fold long term, and the salary cap isn't really going up a whole lot. So I think what they've done is they budgeted for one spot. I think they're going to try to make a move for one forward that could bolster that second line. The first line is set with Forsberg, Ryan Johansson, Matt Duchene. All had excellent years last year, but they need help on that second line, which was inconsistent last year. And I think that's where they're going to probably use most of the funds they have left in that salary cap.
Should be an interesting free agency period for the Nashville Predators. Willie D, always a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Thanks for coming on tonight, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you very soon.
JB, good stuff. Thank you very much. We will hear more about this Forsberg deal coming up. When we come back, we'll hear from General Manager David Poile and Philip Forsberg himself. How did this deal get done in the final hours? Plus, a little teaser here. One deal in the NHL with a star player didn't get done. Find out who's headed to free agency tomorrow. A name not a lot of people expected. That's when we return here on SportsLine on News Channel 5+.